In our last episode, we were hard at work on the refit before Christmas. Here, we pick up in January with the next round of projects, so it's back to the boatyard.
Today is a very big day. This is the last really big investment project that we have to start in January. And then we'll finish up next month in February when Iverson's, the company doing Our Enclosure, comes back to San Diego to put on the canvas. So Tim, can you explain why we have stuff to do so early this morning?
Because we waited until we knew these guys were going to make it, and before we took the solar panels off and disassembled the bimini, the structure. So we haven't done that yet, so we're going over there this morning now that we know they're on the plane, and we're going to do all that so that when they get here they can just boom, boom, boom. They say they're going to take 5 hours, so I imagine that's going to require us to be out of their way and completely ready for them.
Yep. So bright and early morning here. Refit continues. But I'm really excited about this project.
I'm excited about them all. This is a good one because it's the last one, and it's a good one.
Yeah. And it's really, the functionality of having a full enclosure just really extends the living area of the boat. It will make such a big difference in terms of comfort while we are on passage. And it's going to really change the aesthetic of the boat when you kind of look at the boat from afar. And that's partly why we chose to go with Iverson's, because they have a really unique to them design for their Dodger and Bimini systems. And we really like the look of it. And so we've made the investment to work with them, even though they're not in Southern California.
Yeah, and it's been a year. We had to get on their list. They're in their queue over a year ago.
Yeah, so we're super excited.
Step 1 is to disconnect the solar panels and remove them from the structure.
Right there. Push that. Okay, this is the muscle part.
So let's talk about what we're going to do.
We're going to lift each one of these panels off and set them over there.
Okay, so we're going to lift.
Somebody has to lift.
Yeah. So we'll lift and go this way first, and then reconnoiter. Assuming if I stand here. Oh, this one's not.
The next step is to remove the existing structure.
Want me to sniff those zip ties? Where'd your sniffer tool go?
Yellow tips on it. It's in far forward side of the bag somewhere.
What are those called?
I call them dikes. They're technically called diagonals.
That?
No, yellow tips with red handles.
Oh.
Those are needle nose, what you just had.
Where's the yellow?
Those are linemen's. Right in front of those is the yellow tips in the same pocket.
I see.
Put these on the dock for now, or what are we doing?
Let's put them up there and mess with the other things. We have one casualty.
Probably using the wrong tool to do it. Should have used a bigger one.
It is super bizarre to not have a bimini or a Dodger or anything above our heads. This is going to be the only time for this 2 hours that that is going to be true for us in the life of this boat. Hopefully. Something really wrong has happened if we ever are on this boat again without anything above our heads.
Jason and Mikey from Iverson's Designs arrived and jumped right in, unpacking the stainless that they shipped prior to their arrival.
We have been so excited for this project.
I know you have.
I know you guys do it all the time, but
I know you've been excited.
I told Tim this morning, this is the last new car we're buying.
That's one way to look at it.
There have been a few. This boat has a few new cars.
All right, ready for your first question?
Okay.
We're just going to hold this up somewhat arbitrarily, and you just tell us how far back and how tall you want the Dodger to be.
Okay. Hey, Tim.
Yeah.
We will both have opinions. So it's maybe a bit of a negotiation.
We want it as tall as possible.
Okay.
Because we keep bumping our heads on it all the time, so. Maybe we can move the boom over. I would really like it as tall as it will go without hitting anything on
Can we
the
bring the boom center line?
Sure.
All right, so we're gonna have you hold it up, and then Tim will sort of judge it by Tim and
Okay, go ahead.
the boom.
Here we go.
Watch your head.
Oh man, that's so much better than it was before. Isn't it?
And don't go any taller than you need to.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Come on down.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, right about there is perfect.
Okay. Got that for a second. So like 75 is right there.
Which is 6'2".
Six.
That's great.
Yeah?
It was a lot lower before.
Okay.
We bumped our heads.
I have
all
a
the time.
permanent.
And then how far back? So right
back
now
this
we're
way.
kind of arbitrarily holding it. I mean, I honestly think that's about a pretty good,
Because then there'll be like there's a connector.
Yeah,
right
then the
here.
connector panel and the
But
bimini
it'd
cover
be
the
nice
rest.
if you could stand here and look up and stuff. So yeah, this is good right here.
Well, and the thing to consider is when this connector panel is removed and you have just the bimini on and just the Dodger, you have somebody can sit here
Exactly.
and be
Still
protected.
covered. That's
Yeah.
perfect.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right. That's good. Boy,
Yeah?
that is beautiful.
So you're thinking somewhere in there is cool?
Yeah, it looks very good to me. Because I can stand right here and look up and yeah,
Okay.
it's great.
Time to trim the stainless.
Now there will be no excuse to not do pull-ups. Is it going to be that strong?
Not for my fat ass. I wouldn't trust it. That's a nice tool to have there, a ratchet screwdriver like that.
That's on the tools buy list.
Don't bother getting one of those two ways.
I'm gonna drill a couple new holes. These aren't gripping very well, so.
Okay.
Once the structure was built, Iverson's moved on to creating the pattern for the canvas, and that was the last step for the day. At this point, it was time for them to head back to Olympia, Washington to sew the canvas, and then they'll be back in a month to finish the project. Like with every boat project, when you do one thing, that usually creates more work. In this case, when we removed the existing structure, that left holes at all the attachment points, which required a lot of gel coat work. And since we had the gel coaters out working on those holes, we went ahead and filled all the other holes in the cockpit. So now it's as good as new.
The guys are back to do the canvas.
They started by getting the Dodger put on.
Like, he and I can not even talk and just do our thing.
Yeah. You're a good race team.
Yeah, like a pit draw.
There you go. That's a picture, yeah.
The color's perfect.
Yeah.
Look how the smoke matches, you know, like the tone of the UV. Good job, Jason.
Was that my idea or something?
That was your idea.
Next up, the bimini. then the connector. And now the windshield. Next up, the stainless for the solar panels. A view from the inside with all the glass panels zippered in. And now the glass panels have been taken out and we're putting the mesh panels in. And finally, snap placement. Et voila, we have an enclosure. And in addition to the enclosure project, we took advantage of getting a few other things done while we were in wet dock, including hanging our world map, installing all of our updated firefighting equipment, including replacing our expired extinguishers, adding a couple of additional extinguishers so that we have one in every cabin and in the main galley/saloon. And then we also installed a fire blanket close to the cooker. We also added this light to our binnacle in the cockpit.
Back on again.
All right, so.
See how it dims all the way to bright?
Yeah. Oh. And then what?
Next is red, and that dims as well. So now the next on is white again.
Oh, that is so cool.
And then we took on this big project.
Our project today is installing the anchor wash. We're repurposing the macerator pump through hole because we removed our macerator pumps, and the deck fitting where we used to pump out, we're repurposing that, which is where we'll have the fitting for the hose. So the trickiest part that we are predicting is that getting the through hole fitting off is going to be problematic. So we'll see. Tim, how you feeling about this project?
Anxious.
So you can see here the proximity of where it will go, and the anchor is perfect, which means that our chain will get cleaned off as it goes into the anchor locker. It's just going to make it all really nice.
I think I can just chip it all away and then we'll clean it up with mineral spirits and stuff.
It seems like there's always one screw that won't come out.
Fingers crossed that the easy way works.
I can't get all of it. Just not enough surface area.
What's the one other thing we can try?
Drill a little hole in it, and I have these things called easy outs that we can, if I can drill a hole in it, then you tap these easy outs into it and you screw it out.
Okay. Okay. What do we have here?
Wash down pump.
So how's this project gonna play out?
Right, there was a macerator pump mounted right there in that wood block. So I'm hoping I can reuse that and mount this pump on there. There's a through hole under here that we used to be the macerator out. So we're gonna tie to that with the 3/4 hose.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're gonna go from the other side of the pump up to that hole that we just cleaned out, and with a new fitting, this fitting right here goes in there. This will be on the deck. And then it's a quick release when you want to plug in the hose. This will be screwed to the hose. And it just locks in there like that. And as soon as you do that, it pressurizes it if the pump's pressurized. And then the hose is hooked here and you just
Clean the anchor and the chain.
with seawater, of course.
One of our strategies is while the boat is here in wet dock and we have all of the stuff, the mattresses, just the stuff that is going to go on the boat, none of that is here. So that locker that Tim is standing in is completely empty right now. And so we're trying to get as many projects done in this 2-week period of time before all of these lockers are filled up. And so doing this deck wash, while the deck wash is not the most important project for leaving the dock in October and is really kind of a nice to have project, the fact that we can be installing it before we have all of the stuff in the boat is going to make this project just easier. So we're doing it here. Plus, I think, I don't know, Tim, if you would agree with this, doing it while we're tied to the dock and not out in the mooring field while the boat's moving up and down is probably easier.
Absolutely.
So that is why we're tackling this project right now. That little daylight section is the deck fitting that we just took out as pudding. Like that pipe needs to go to that seacock. Hey, before you cut it, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Do we want to have it so it like comes up and it can be clipped higher and not just...
No, you don't want water to settle in it. You know what I mean? It has to flow downhill.
Okay. So what tools do we need?
A jigsaw and a hole saw. I mean, I can do the jigsaw part. Let's get this as far along as we can today.
God, that is so annoying.
It really is.
I would like to ask Jobsco why this fitting couldn't be the same size as the edge of this fitting.
Tim used Starboard to fix the problem. And now time to wire the pump and test it.
Was it pretty good force?
What do you think?
Cool. We just gotta finish that. Never finish anything.
It really does feel like that, but finally we did get this project complete, and here you can see the finished product. We have a few more Refit episodes to share with you, and as of July 2022, we are now living aboard full-time and are going to be spending this whole summer shaking down. So we're really looking forward to showing you some sailing footage. Thanks so much for taking an interest in our little corner of the internet. Please subscribe and follow us on Instagram at GNT Sailing, and check out our blog. We'll see you next time.